battle for the throne of predators. Join us on a journey through one of the wildest lands on Earth, where every battle reveals who truly deserves to rule the kingdom. Temperatures rise along with a scorching heat. Africa is a place where every dawn brings life and every sunset drags behind it the shadow of death. In this kingdom, the sun does not merely shine, it is the supreme judge. Every ray of light reveals who will survive tonight and who will never see the dawn of tomorrow. The savanna stretches infinitely, from the burning red sands of the Kalahari to the golden grasslands of the Serengeti. It extends from the mighty rivers drying up in Botswana to the vast floodplains of the Okavango Delta. Throughout this land, an ancestral question has echoed through millions of years of evolution. Who is the true king of the savanna? Will it be the one with the loudest roar? The one who runs the fastest? Or the one who boasts the greatest physical strength? Or does the true king wear no crown, but instead possesses a much more supreme power? Fear. Because in Africa, fear is not a weakness. Fear is a compass, a teacher, and the ultimate survival weapon. The hunter fears failure, for a failed attack can be a point of no return towards starvation. The prey fears death, as one false step will deny it a second chance to correct its mistake. The pride fears disintegration, because being alone on the savanna is equivalent to a death sentence without trial. Welcome to Nature Moments, where we unravel the most extraordinary mysteries of the wild world. To find the answer, we will travel through 5 lands, witnessing thousands of relentless battles where fear reaches its peak and reveals the true nature of every living being. We will travel from the inhospitable Kalahari Desert, across the immense Serengeti Plain, along the dry Boteti River, to the wild fortress of Zakuma, and finally, the flooded paradise of the Okavango. Every stop is a rigorous test where each species must face its greatest fear. Their reaction will determine who is worthy of reigning on the throne of the African savanna. The journey for the first answer takes us away from prosperous lands to enter the brutal solitude of the Kalahari Desert. This is a hostile world where speed is revered as a religion and time is the unbeatable enemy. In this burning battlefield, life never waits. It is decided and snatched in races as fast as the wind. From the distant horizon, a pale yellow silhouette appears silently, its body pressed against the cracked ground. Its amber eyes are fixed firmly on its unsuspecting prey, more than 300 feet away. It is the cheetah, the most sophisticated speed machine that 40 million years of natural selection have designed. This is a being whose body is developed exclusively for a single explosive action. It possesses the ability to accelerate from a static position to a maximum speed of 70 miles per hour in less than 3 seconds. This is a staggering figure that surpasses most modern supercars on the planet. As it moves, its spine flexes like a compressed steel spring. Its non-retractable claws dig deep into the sand, similar to the spikes on an athlete's shoes. Its long, thick tail functions as a rudder that maintains optimal balance during sharp turns at high speed. Every muscle fiber and blood vessel in the cheetah's body is tuned for one supreme goal: maximum acceleration. However, this great gift of nature comes with a heavy and terrible price. 20 to 30 seconds is the life or death time limit allowed by the fast twitch muscle fibers before all energy reserves are completely exhausted. Contrary to old hypotheses suggesting their bodies burned from the inside due to overheating, studies show another reality. This is actually a severe physical limit where every muscle fiber exhausts all its stored fuel. This life or death race unfolds extremely quickly. If the stubborn prey continues to maintain its speed after those fateful 30 seconds, the cheetah will fail immediately. The price to pay will not simply be a lost meal, but extreme exhaustion. This will bring it closer to a death sentence in the middle of the vast desert. However, the weight of speed does not stop at the suffocating moments of the hunt. It also falls upon cheetah mothers. They live through a painful struggle to preserve the species at a time when their population is seriously declining. The decline is due to habitat loss and fierce competition from larger predators. Under the scorching Kalahari sun, the cubs constantly follow their mother to learn how to survive. Their silvery manes resemble patches of dry grass for camouflage. In their innocent world, the desert is just a large playground where they play tag or roll over the hot sand. They do not know that danger lurks behind every bush. The mother must exhaust herself hunting while remaining alert every second to protect her young from the claws of lions and hyenas. Observing the alarming mortality rate of the cubs and the strict physical limits, many wonder if this represents a failure of nature. The answer is no, because evolution does not aim for total perfection, but for specialized adaptation. The cheetah accepts sacrificing muscular strength and defensive capability in exchange for absolute speed. It becomes a unique work of art of creation, proving that even in extreme conditions, life always finds its way. And today's hunting target is by no means easy prey to catch. Standing tall under the scorching desert sun is an oryx, a creature of proud beauty with a pair of horns over 3 feet long that curve toward the sky like two ancient, cold, sharp swords. The oryx does not possess the dizzying speed of the cheetah, but its body structure was designed so that it wouldn't need it. To survive the most severe droughts, this animal possesses truly miraculous biological characteristics. It has an extremely efficient digestive system for saving water, capable of absorbing the last drop of moisture from arid vegetation. A light-colored skin effectively reflects sunlight like a protective shield. In addition to this, deep within the skull of this antelope lies a great evolutionary marvel that modern mechanical engineers would envy: the carotid rete. This is a dense network of intertwined tiny blood vessels that functions as a sophisticated biological radiator to cool hot arterial blood before it reaches the brain directly. Thanks to this unique mechanism, the oryx body temperature can rise to an astonishing 113 degrees Fahrenheit. This is extreme heat, enough to coagulate proteins and cause permanent brain damage in most other mammals. However, the oryx's brain stays cool and on absolute alert to constantly analyze the situation. When cornered with no possibility of retreat, the oryx makes a bold decision. The one who trembled with fear at the relentless passage of time now must face a resilient warrior who knows no fear. The greatest fear of the fastest creature in the savannah is not facing a stronger enemy. It is the relentless countdown of the biological clock ticking inside its own body. The ruthless pressure of time does not only fall on the shoulders of the cheetah. Thousands of miles east of the Kalahari Desert, in the vast plains of the Serengeti, a new generation faces a primary and much more terrifying fear. They face the fear of failing in their first steps of life. With an immense area of nearly 31,000 square kilometers stretching across the border between Tanzania and Kenya, the Serengeti is the sanctuary that hosts the highest density of mammals on the planet. It is the largest and fiercest battlefield on the Black Continent. Under the shade of a thorny acacia tree, a very special class is being taught in the middle of nature. 4 lion cubs, barely 5 months old, watch their mother's every move intently, with their golden eyes wide open and their ears pricked to catch even the slightest sound. They try to engrave every survival lesson into their young brains. Lions are not born with a perfected hunting instinct. All their skills must be acquired through months of arduous training. And the 5-month mark is when this rigorous preparation program begins. In the society of these majestic creatures, lionesses are the ultimate teachers. With a more slender, agile, and flexible body, females take on almost 90% of the hunting responsibility to feed the pride. In contrast, male lions usually appear at the last moment to protect the territory and claim their share of the spoils. These males possess imposing manes and larger, heavier bodies. However, even these experienced hunting masters face an alarming failure rate. Biological studies show that a lioness hunting alone has a success rate of less than 19%. figure only improves to about 30% when she cooperates with the whole pride. To stay alive in this hostile environment, each female needs a minimum of 6 kilograms of meat per day, while that figure is 9 kilograms for a male lion. And it is clear that the Serengeti has never been a place for compassion or easy meals. Today's target is a wildebeest that has strayed from the group. The lioness immediately hugs the ground, camouflaging herself completely in the dry grass, advancing in the absolute silence of a ghost. Behind, the 4 innocent cubs try to imitate their mother's hunched posture. But their clumsy and wobbly steps cause them to accidentally step on dry branches, creating a fatal snap. That slight noise is more than enough for the sharp ears of the prey. The attack fails by a hair as the wildebeest accelerates rapidly and disappears into the herd. A bitter failure. That is the first basic lesson, and it will surely be repeated many times in the future. Upon turning 2 to 3 years old, young male lions will be forced to leave their family, beginning a lonely and dangerous nomadic life. Others form survival coalitions with their brothers. They will have to hunt for themselves, protect themselves, and accumulate strength in silence until they are mature enough to challenge the reigning kings. Meanwhile, young lionesses will stay to continue inheriting their mother's lineage. They will become the fundamental pillar that sustains and feeds the family during the harshest dry seasons of the savanna. In this kingdom, learning from failure is the only way to success. Each lion cub, as it grows, carries very different fears. Males fear loneliness and abandonment in the vastness of the savanna when expelled from the pride, while females fear not having enough hunting skills to raise their cubs. However, despite these invisible fears, the survival instinct drives them forward. In the Serengeti, he who hesitates starves. Even the proud princes of the savanna must learn a deep lesson in humility, especially when the opponent in front of them is a living legend of nearly 2,200 pounds, a beast nicknamed the Black Death. The Cape buffalo is the animal that causes more deaths of humans and large predators than any other large herbivore on the continent. Nearly a ton of rock-solid muscle is concentrated in a massive body with skin so thick it is almost impenetrable. Under normal conditions, when it does not feel threatened, the buffalo seems like a fairly peaceful creature. It grazes slowly, lives in harmony with parasitic birds, and silently enjoys fresh mud puddles. However, behind that calm and somewhat coarse appearance, an extremely aggressive fighting spirit is hidden. It possesses a fierce counterattack capability when provoked. top of the skull of each adult male. The base of their horns joins to form an extremely resistant bony shield called a boss. This formidable cranial armor reaches its maximum development when the male is between 8 and 9 years old. This horn shield is so thick and hard that large caliber rifle bullets sometimes bounce off upon direct impact. If a lone lion makes the mistake of biting a buffalo's skull, it risks breaking all its teeth. In fact, in a one-on-one confrontation, a lone lion almost never stands a chance against an adult buffalo. The outcome is usually extremely tragic for the predator. The lion will end up gored, trampled mercilessly under the weight of that enormous muscle mass, or pierced by brutal horn thrusts. But the true strength of the Cape buffalo lies in its unbreakable herd spirit. When a member of the group emits a cry for help while being attacked, the entire herd turns around immediately without hesitating for a second. They join together to form an impenetrable defensive wall with their sharp horns pointing outward. They charge en masse against the lions at an amazing speed. In an instant, the hunter becomes the helpless prey. The proud lion pride is forced to flee in terror and climb tree branches if it doesn't want to be crushed under hundreds of enraged hooves. This is the supreme fear that lions never want to admit, that the prey can overthrow the king. The Cape buffalo does not instill fear with a thundering roar. It does so with a cold silence and the vibrations that shake the earth when the entire herd unites for a total counterattack. The throne does not belong to the one who starts the battle. Sometimes it belongs to the one who knows how to stand up and fight to the end to protect their own. However, in another battlefield, terror is not defined by sharp horns or tearing claws. That fear pulses silently from within the herd itself, where the threat comes from members of their own species. In Botswana, when a prolonged 6-month drought falls upon the land, it transforms green grasslands into barren, cracked plains. At that moment, all creatures look desperately toward their only savior, the Boteti River. The river is the last thread of life that nourishes a land dying of thirst. Along the water's edge is the herd of plain zebras, animals with a unique pattern of black and white stripes. The stripes function as an unrepeatable biological barcode, similar to human fingerprints. A led stallion with with a muscular body of over 300 kilograms, keeps a close watch on the edge of the riverbank. Behind him, his harem of 2 to 6 females cautiously drinks the fresh water. However, this time the danger does not lurk beneath the river depths. In the shadow of a bush less than 15 meters away, 3 lionesses lie motionless like stone statues. Their claws are completely hidden within their paw pads, ready to come out and dig into the prey's flesh. These lionesses hunt in a terrifying silence. They do so without a single roar, without a heavy breath, only with the cold patience of experienced killers. As soon as the attack breaks out, the zebra herd immediately falls into a state of absolute panic. When they run together at a gallop, their stripes cross, creating a dizzying optical maze. The phenomenon is known as motion dazzle, which disorients the lions and prevents them from fixing on a specific target. In the middle of the chaos, a foal accidentally separates from its mother. The lioness pounces on it, but at that precise moment, the lead stallion makes a reckless decision. More than 300 kilograms of muscle impact the lioness's side with massive force. The zebra herd miraculously escapes by a hair. But the natural world does not always grant such luck. And sometimes, the cruelest threats do not come from external claws. When a new stallion defeats the old king, his first decree is not to reproduce. The cruel instinct of infanticide awakens, and the new leader will kill all the offspring of his predecessor. This extreme behavior stimulates the females to quickly go back into estrus. It ensures that the next generation only carries the genes of the victor. Faced with the new tyrant, the female zebras face an unimaginable tragedy. They must accept watching their offspring's lives be snatched away or stand up to fight an opponent of overwhelming strength. Many mothers choose resistance. They bite, kick with fury, and use their own bodies as shields to protect their little ones. The fear of losing an offspring is perhaps the most primitive and intense emotion that exists in the animal kingdom. Finally, the golden rains fall, signaling the start of the great annual migration. Thousands of zebras advance en masse toward the south, forced once again to cross the Boteti River. At this moment, the river is no longer dry, but flows with a violent current. The killer monsters, the Nile crocodiles, wait silently under the murky waters. Every step in the fast current is a bet where life is played. Every zebra that enters the river understands that not everyone will make it to the other bank. However, they must keep going because staying behind means a death sentence from dehydration. The fear of a dry death in the desert will always be greater than the fear of being dragged to the bottom of the river. The cycle of life is renewed with each difficult step. Among the countless primitive fears of the savannah, the fear of death, of losing offspring, of losing the throne, one creature has chosen a completely different path. They transform fear itself into a power system, where the one who instills terror is not a king, but a queen of high nobility. The spotted hyena is perhaps the most misunderstood and slandered animal on the entire African continent. For a long time, old documentaries and misconceptions have labeled them as cowardly scavengers who only hide waiting to steal others' spoils. But modern science has vindicated them by revealing a totally opposite truth. Between 60% and 70% of the spotted hyena's diet comes from active hunts carried out by themselves, with an amazing hunting success rate of over 50% when cooperating in a group. Spotted hyenas are actually top-tier diurnal predators. This figure nearly doubles the success rate of the lion kings. Their society is a true matriarchal empire, where females rule with supreme authority and iron discipline. A hyena clan can have up to 80 members. The alpha female possesses absolute power, from the distribution of every piece of food to the decision of which individuals are allowed to reproduce. That power hierarchy is established from the moment of birth. Unlike most carnivores that are born blind, hyena cubs leave the womb with their eyes wide open. They are armed with sharp baby teeth and an extremely aggressive fighting instinct. Except for a few coordinated hunting scenes at nightfall, most of their fiercest battles occur in broad daylight. They occur right inside the earth. The first battle of a young hyena is not against an external enemy, but against its own siblings. The concept of canism is documented as a ruthless survival tactic. The strongest offspring will constantly bite the weakest to monopolize the rich mother's milk. Here, the greatest fear does not come from the outer savannah. It comes from those who share their same blood under the dark tomb of the den. With a robust body weighing up to 176 pounds and a jaw with a pressure of over 990 pounds, it possesses the most efficient biological recycling system. That sudden bite is enough to break the hardest femur of an adult Cape buffalo. Bones, horns, hooves. No organic structure can resist the destructive power of the hyena's jaws. Under the stifling midday heat in the savannah, the entire clan moves. They make the ground seem to tremble under the steps of dozens of hungry individuals. The bone-chilling sound that humans often mistake for a wild laugh is actually an extremely sophisticated communication system. The sound indicates rank and serves as a call to gather the troops. The target that enters their sights this time is an elephant calf that has accidentally strayed from its herd. It is an enormous mass of fresh meat of nearly 3 tons. They quickly deploy in a perfect crescent formation, led by the alpha female. However, the calf's panic screams immediately alert the mother elephant. In an instant, a giant silhouette of nearly 4 tons pounces with overwhelming fury. Faced with that supreme power, the entire hyena clan immediately retreats in order and silence. This is by no means cowardice, but the ultimate wisdom of a species that perfectly knows its limits. This is the true portrait of the spotted hyena, a hunter of the savannah. It is sensible enough to know when to stop before forces it cannot overcome. If you are also captivated by this fierce struggle for the throne of the savannah, share your thoughts with Nature Moments in the comments section below. In your opinion, who deserves to be the true king? From the beginning of time, Africa was chosen by the Creator as the kingdom of giants. In the midst of a world full of majestic rulers, the supreme sovereign power still belongs to a single silhouette. Nature has granted the savannah a sound of maximum solemnity, a supreme power capable of imposing absolute silence on any living being. The lion's roar is the sovereign of the golden grasslands. However, in an extremely cruel irony of fate, this king of majestic bearing currently faces the greatest fear of his entire history. It is the threat of being erased and disappearing forever from the planet. The African lion was molded by nature to be an extremely efficient hunting machine. An imposing body of nearly 550 pounds of pure muscle radiates an aura of power and lethality. The body extends nearly 10 feet from nose to tail tip. The king's roar can be heard 5 miles away, across the open grasslands. It is a thundering declaration of sovereignty that instantly freezes the blood of any creature that hears it. They live in dynasties of 3 to 40 individuals, where roles are divided with absolute precision. Females take on the responsibility of hunting to feed the family, while males protect the borders. When this system works correctly, the lion is an impregnable force. However, behind that proud appearance that seems immutable, the crown of power cracks day by day. Even the supreme symbol of its majesty hides a story of constant changes in the Serengeti. The thicker and darker the mane, the more it demonstrates the male's excellent health and dominant position. But a few hundred miles to the southeast, a raw and strange reality is revealed. In the arid Tsavo region of Kenya, lions completely lack a mane. This is by no means a sign of weakness, but a great adaptation for survival. Under the scorching heat, a thick mane is nothing more than a deadly burden that overheats the body. Evolution stripped the king of his ostentatious crown to keep him alive in the face of adversity. But the most urgent question threatening this dynasty does not lie in its appearance. It is in the very survival of the species. Only about 23,000 lions remain in the wild in all of Africa, representing a painful 40% decrease. It is a population collapse that biologists describe with the word catastrophic. Four deadly threats point directly at the throne: habitat loss and human-wildlife conflicts. Added to this are ruthless poaching and the severe decline of prey populations. It turns out that the greatest fear of the king of beasts is not buffalo goring or hyena harassment. Its greatest fear is the shadow of extinction. To deeply understand that fear, one must move away from the Serengeti. One must fly west toward an isolated fortress in the heart of the nation of Chad. When the limits between dry land and the river fade, any demonstration of strength or speed by ungulate mammals loses its meaning. There, on the bank of the Mara River that appears to be peaceful, a master of patience has waited for millennia. Throughout 200 million years of evolution, this creature has barely changed its shape, sowing terror beneath the murky waters. The Nile crocodile. This is the most formidable, challenging, and adapted reptile that nature has created on Earth. This hidden hunting machine can weigh up to 2,200 pounds and reach an astonishing length of up to 20 feet. The secret of its hunting success lies in its subtlety and its excellent camouflage ability. With its rough skin that blends ideally with the color of water and mud, the crocodile remains motionless like the trunk of an old tree floating gently. It waits patiently for the moment when thousands of unsuspecting prey plunge into the water to perform its terrible attack. It does so with one of the strongest bites on the planet, leaving behind the river of death full of floating debris. The immense savanna welcomes survivors with another test of temperance. In this dry land exist creatures whose strength does not come from discreet camouflage, but from an unstoppable collective force. The Cape buffalo, weighing up to 2,000 pounds. They are known as the living tanks of the desert. They are protected by an extremely thick skin and a solid bony shield on the forehead. In the legendary Big Five group of Africa, the buffalo sometimes receives more fear and respect from natives than the lion itself. Power confrontations between two adult male buffaloes are a ritual of maximum physical display, a dance of primitive and fierce strength. When these two giants collide at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, the impact force generated is immense. Nearly a ton of muscle as solid as granite is completely concentrated at the point of contact right between the eyes. In that vulnerable zone, the base of both horns widens and fuses to form a dense bony shield. It creates an absolute natural protective helmet. This protective bony structure is so hard that it suffices to completely absorb and dissipate the colossal impact forces. It only reaches its maturity and complete ossification when the male is around 8 or 9 years old. In the ancient culture of the Zulu people, the buffalo is the supreme symbol of unwavering will and courage. Its fierce nature that always faces danger directly served as inspiration for the military tactics of the famous king Shaka Zulu. The most elite warrior units were compared to the unstoppable force of a buffalo herd. This immortal warrior spirit is also clearly reflected in the energetic and passionate Indlamu war dance of the tribe. The ancient Zulus also used to make power jewelry and hunting weapons from buffalo horns. They believed that the animal's strength and indomitable spirit would be transmitted to the wearer. When they gather in large herds of up to hundreds of individuals, Cape buffaloes become a mobile fortress. They move across the savanna as an ideal defensive system against any danger. Few predators, even the proudest lion prides, are willing to challenge a herd of adult buffaloes in combat formation. The majesty of this black giant is usually accompanied by an explosive energy hidden within. At the slightest warning sign, its habitual calm can turn into a destructive attack force. It crushes any enemy under its heavy hooves. The wild world still holds countless extraordinary stories waiting to be discovered. The Great Migration in the African Savanna is one of the greatest and fiercest natural wonders on the planet. It is an eternal loop journey of more than 1,800 miles that crosses the most difficult terrains of the Serengeti Mara ecosystem. This journey is a massive concentration of more than 1.5 million blue wildebeests, about 300,000 zebras, and 400,000 gazelles. Although zebras and wildebeests are not relatives, there exists between them an implicit and sacred commitment for survival. They walk together to see the light of tomorrow's sun. Wildebeests possess an extremely acute sense of smell and hearing. In particular, they have the amazing ability to feel low-frequency vibrations in the ground, to locate distant water sources dozens of miles away, or detect the steps of other creatures. However, the wildebeest's weak point lies in its short, thick neck, as well as a cranial structure that considerably limits its field of vision. This is where the zebra appears to complete the missing piece. With a body weight of up to 850 pounds and sharp eyes that give it a wide vision of almost 360 degrees, zebras are the great protectors. They are the mobile watchtowers of this migratory journey. The combination of the wildebeest's hearing and the zebra's vision creates an incredible joint defense network against predators. However, this cooperation is not born of a peaceful friendship or altruism. It is simply part of a pragmatic and strict self-defense tactic within a large collective. Under the tremendous pressure of this 1,000-kilometer journey, each adult individual must consume between 9 and 11 pounds of grass a day. They do this to maintain their strength. Old, sick, or too young individuals easily fall behind. It is estimated that more than 250,000 wildebeests die each year due to exhaustion, diseases, and predators' claws. They become easy targets for hunters. The migration not only faces relentless challenges on land, its path is forced across with an ancestral force where the line between life and death is as thin as the water surface. In the year 1963, in the middle of the arid and relentless savanna of eastern Chad, a survival fortress was officially established, Zakuma National Park. This place is like a green and lonely oasis in the middle of an ocean of burning sand. It is a battlefield where nature has gathered its last reserve cards to bet them on a single life or death play. In that great bet, there is a work of nature struggling on the edge of disappearance, the Kordofan giraffe. On the entire planet, fewer than 2,000 individuals currently remain. Half of these rare creatures are concentrated in this same land of Zakuma. This is a subspecies classified as critically endangered on the IUCN Red List. Despite being between 15 and 18 feet tall, they remain living towers. They are the tallest giants that walk on dry land. Every detail of their body represents an adaptation taken to the extreme. Its tongue, up to 18 inches long, has a characteristic bluish-black color. It is flexible and resistant, like a strip of leather. It is capable of snaking and plucking tender leaves from acacia branches covered in sharp thorns without suffering a single scratch. Additionally, to keep this asymmetric body alive, nature has equipped them with an extraordinary engine, a giant heart weighing up to 24 pounds. This is the largest heart among land animals, capable of generating a tremendous blood pressure of approximately 300 millimeters of mercury. It has the sole purpose of overcoming gravity and pumping blood along a journey of more than 6 feet up the long neck to the brain. However, this same biological structure turns one of the most basic needs into the most dangerous life or death game of the day: to be able to touch the water with its lips. The Kordofan giraffe is forced to spread its front legs wide in a clumsy way and lower its head. At that moment, blood pressure changes suddenly and violently. Although a sophisticated system of one-way valves in the jugular vein closes immediately to prevent damage, that posture still places them in an extremely vulnerable situation. By bowing their heads, they lose their panoramic vision and the body's center of gravity is locked. The giraffe loses almost all of its ability to react quickly to ambushes coming from the bushes. But one must not be fooled by that peaceful and elegant appearance, thinking they are helpless victims. When cornered at the limit between life and death, prey can reveal incredibly fierce resistance strength. The Kordofan giraffe's deadliest weapon is its long legs, similar to columns, powered by extremely strong thigh muscles. In the history of the wild world, top-tier predators like lions have paid a very high price when trying to attack them. A direct back kick from a giraffe possesses a crushing force, capable of breaking ribs and shattering skull. It can cause serious internal injuries that can cripple or kill an adult lion on the spot. However, everything changes completely when a Cape buffalo is isolated and separated from the safe protection of its herd. An adult buffalo can weigh approximately 5 times more than a lioness. In theory, a single direct charge with its thick horn shield is enough to immediately end the predator's life. But the lion pride understands this perfectly. So it never relies on brute force, but bets on a high-level coordination strategy. Lions are the only social predators within the feline family. And most large hunts are planned and meticulously coordinated by the lionesses of the group. Silently, they surround the prey from multiple directions. They use patience to isolate the buffalo from the group, and suddenly launch themselves to hold on tightly to its thick armored skin. The battle at this moment is no longer a speed race, but turns into a struggle of endurance and survival will. With their powerful jaws and curved claws dug deep into the flesh, the lion pride tries to bring down the giant that thrashes enraged. Nonetheless, the Cape buffalo is famous for having one of the most unbreakable solidarity spirits of the savanna. When an individual emits a desperate cry for help that echoes across the plain, the entire buffalo herd can turn back instantly, lowering its sharp horns to organize a bloody rescue. Faced with the tremendous pressure of those enormous black muscle masses of dozens of tons charging like an armored train, the hunting queens are forced to release their prey and retreat quickly. But in that battle, there are still young male lions who refuse to give up, to truly mature and become the king who decides the fate of the plains. A male lion must prove for himself his overwhelming strength and unmatched courage. Bloody encounters with the Cape buffalo are the fundamental and relentless test. It is these dangerous combats on the edge of life and death that will shape the true rulers of the savanna in the future. Even when buffalo herds have managed to defeat the proudest challengers, the African savanna always harbors a much greater force. There is a creature that reigns almost absolutely at the top of the universal power hierarchy. This being does not need the support of a herd to affirm its position, nor does it require hiding under the shadow of night. Its solitary presence alone is enough for all species to step aside and the ground beneath its feet to tremble. The African elephant. The African elephant is one of the great structures of biological evolution. Adult males can weigh up to 13,200 pounds, approximately 6 tons, and reach a height of nearly 13 feet, about 4 meters. Once they have fully developed physically, they have virtually no natural predators in the wild. Faced with such a majestic giant, even the lion, the most fearsome predator of the savanna, must keep a safe distance and bow its head. The elephant's safety does not come from its escape speed or its aggressiveness, but from its colossal size and its totally overwhelming muscle strength. Each of its steps can generate immense force, equivalent to the passage of a heavy armored vehicle on the ground. The African elephant's trunk is one of the most complex and sophisticated biological tools that exist in the animal kingdom. Composed of more than 40,000 individual muscle bundles without a single bone, it possesses amazing flexibility. It is delicate enough to pick up a small blade of grass, and strong enough to tear trees out by the roots, lift objects of hundreds of kilograms, or become a crushing mace when necessary. The African elephant's authority is born from the combination of tons of muscle strength and extraordinary, rarely seen intelligence and memory. For decades, the legend has spread that African elephants often get drunk by eating marula fruits. However, detailed scientific studies on animal physiology have shown that this is almost impossible in the natural environment. For a 6-ton giant to fall into a state of drunkenness, its digestive system would have to process such an enormous amount of fruit that it is unrealistic. The elephant's metabolism is extremely fast. Therefore, the story of drunk elephants from marula fruit is currently considered by the scientific community as a popular entertainment legend rather than a real biological behavior. The African elephant is also a creature that possesses a deep and intense emotional world. They experience pride, joy, a close family bond, and are capable of shedding tears at the sadness of losing a loved one. But nature also understands that when a multi-ton being loses its calm and becomes enraged, the consequences for everything around it will be devastating and unpredictable storms. Along with the elephant, another armored giant walks the savanna paths. The rhinoceros walks with an arrogant attitude and almost without knowing fear. The greatest drawback of the rhino is its poor eyesight. They are almost blind at long distances and cannot clearly define moving objects. However, that lack of vision is compensated by nature with surprising muscle mass and devastating charging strength. An adult rhinoceros can easily reach a weight of 3,000 pounds. Its massive body is wrapped in thick layers of skin with folds as tough as a steel vest, and on the tip of its snout, it carries a sharp, curved horn, an extremely lethal close combat weapon. Rhinos are solitary and eccentric beings who live in a state of alert so extreme that it borders on paranoia. Not being able to clearly see the enemy from afar, they rely fully on their acute sense of smell and hearing. It is enough for a strange smell to travel on the wind, or for the slightest unusual noise to be heard to activate the defense mechanism of this stubborn giant. When it cannot determine with certainty what the threat is, its most primitive instinct activates. Lower its head and charge forward. During the mating season, the peaceful atmosphere of the savanna becomes even more tense and subtly aggressive. Adult and territorial males often drive away or even attack the calves of females in order to stimulate them to enter their reproductive cycle early. When two male rhinoceroses engage in a territorial dispute or for the right to mate, the confrontation with their horns can last for hours without giving quarter. Its horn is composed entirely of keratin, the same material as human fingernails. The material compacts with impressive density and hardness over time, becoming a deadly sword. In fact, fierce battles between adult males account for almost 50% of the total natural deaths of this species. However, the greatest and cruelest threat to the rhinoceros's survival does not come from the horns of its own species, but from human greed. Uncontrolled poaching to obtain their horns has pushed this animal to the brink of total extinction. The object on the black market is nicknamed white gold, despite the fact that it possesses no real medical value. Today, local communities and rangers must perform armed patrols day and night. They are forced to take the painful measure of preemptively cutting off rhinoceros horns to protect their lives. They seek to keep lit the last flame of hope for the survival of these giants in the savanna.